Welcome back, everyone. Moxum Creative Adventures. This is a ethanol removal video. As you may know, that ethanol is not great for small engines. So in a long story short, this is how I'm mathing out and learning how to remove the 10% ethanol out of every gallon of gas in order to have an ethanol-free fuel, so that my small engines and storing my motorcycles will not be a problem. Ethanol is not good to have sitting in carburetors. A lot of issues happen with that. So you can research that. Long story short, it's about a 10-to-1 ratio we're talking about. So if you buy a gallon of gas, 10% of that in New Hampshire is corn alcohol. And so what I'm going to do is, I have a container here I purchased, a high-density polyethylene container. In other words, it's safe for fuel. And it is I've marked this, highlighted it, but this is basically about 5 gallons right here. And what you do is you add about 10% of water to the volume that you're going to put in, shake it vigorously, and the ethanol will attract to the water, and it becomes a kind of a milky, bubbly separation. So what I did is I took a half a gallon of water, because that is 10% of 5 gallons, and added food coloring, red food coloring to it, then dumped it into this container. And there it sits. It's actually right about like that, because this is unlevel. But anyways, then I'm going to add 4.5 gallons of fuel that I have purchased here. And then I've also created some markings on the front. So when I tip this down, it will, it's not level right now, but it will also say 0.5. And in theory, after shaken, 10% more of ethanol will rise to here. We're not going to get any more actual volume. We'll never have more than 5 gallons, but what you'll see is 3 lines. Instead of water and then ethanol, gasoline, you'll have water, then ethanol, then gasoline. At that point, I can tip it forward a little bit, let it settle for 10 minutes, and drain off all of the sludge or slash water and ethanol, and end up with nothing but pure gasoline. Okay, so at this point I have added 4.5 gallons that I bought, 93 octane, which brought it up to the 5 gallon mark. We're a little unlevel right now. And shook the hell out of it. And if we wait a little while, about an hour, in theory, we should see a different colored line up to about here, which would be removing 10% of this. 10% of this up here should be ethanol. And when it separates, because it clings to water, it should fall to the bottom, and we should see an additional, this is what was originally water, we should see an additional 10%. So ethanol should rise up to about here. It's semi-opaque container that I bought as opposed to a really clear container, but we're going to see how that works. I don't know if the red dye that I added will actually stay with the ethanol, but we'll find out. Okay, so I did the experiment in this piece here, but it's so opaque that it was really hard to see the difference in the where the ethanol was separating. So I moved it over to a glass carboy. A friend of mine gave me a beer piece. Now look at that beautiful. It's almost like a mirror. That surface. It's kind of cool. But when I give it a little, I don't know, it's kind of neat. These beautiful ripples. But anyways, I can tell you that the water I originally had, about a half a gallon, is about to here. So this is how much, from about here to here, this is how much separation we've had. So about from here to here is pretty much ethanol or added. So I'd say that we did a pretty good cleanse. Look at that glassy. It's kind of cool. So yesterday I put in 4.5 gallons of fuel to here, 93 octane, and then added a half a gallon of red dyed water, shook it vigorously. It settled to the bottom and it came up to about there. So this morning I inverted this and drained it out. So it's got a valve. I drained it out and I got all my water back, which is the exact amount that I was going to put in, or that I did put in. And this is how much extra ethanol grabbed to and took on the color. And this is, I poured out a little, drained out a little too much, so I believe that's clean fuel, and I'll just use that and put that back in the container. So the math kind of works out. This is a half a gallon, which is equal from here to here. That's what I added. And I pulled out this much ethanol, or combined with this much ethanol. This little bit of difference here is that amount there that I'll end up putting back in. So experiment is a success. I feel good about using that fuel. So I found another 3.5 gallons and decided to take it around one more time. At the same time, I decided to make a contraption because I was having trouble getting the lowest portion of the water and ethanol to come out. So I made this little wooden thing so it'll sit here, do its thing, and then drain. As you can see before, at that angle like that, it would not go out the spigot. A lot of it would not come out the spigot. So this should help a lot. I'll be able to tip the last little bit by hand. So I'm pretty stoked. I have almost 6 or 7 gallons of ethanol-free fuel. Cheers.